You're watching the Chucktown Wind Report, Wednesday, November the 25th update. Let's talk about the winds today and tomorrow and then even into the weekend. First, we're going to look at the surface map. Here is our high pressure that is built to our north firmly. Fairly strong. It's going to drive a nice moderate northeast wind down our coast today, and we should start feeling those effects by late this morning and into this afternoon. It's already stronger down into Florida and into the Keys where all this troughing activity is. And when I say troughing, we have all this clouding activity. It's more of a mid-level feature than it is a low-level feature, so no rain in the forecast. But this clouding, this troughing, as it gets pushed on shore by these northeasterly winds, especially from our north, we see a gradient enhancement as the high pressure wedges down into it. So for today, we're looking for pretty moderate numbers, 14 to 18 knots, maybe even on the higher end, up near 20 knots, and that could last on through tomorrow as the winds kind of go up and down during the daily heating. So let's take a look at GRE, and we can see some of this radar. You can see the cross-sectioning of some of these clouds, the upper level clouding heading off to the east, and some of that lower level or mid-level clouding heading into the coast. And we can see these clouds heading to the east, and then all this lower level troughing that's coming in off the Gulf Stream is going to be heading in towards the coast as the day goes on. We'll see some of that clouding start to show up, and that's where our gradient is going to be built. So if you look at Datascope from WeatherFlow, see that gradient is already built down into Miami, southern Florida, Miami, and even into the Keys. We're seeing even some stronger winds over at Abaco, over in the Bahamas. So that gradient extends all the way down into that area. And as we head north towards Charleston, we see the gradient even building stronger. So we see Tybee Island showing 20 knots, 19 knots at Jekyll Island. And our offshore readings are starting to come up a little bit. Let's take a quick look at sea surface temperatures, as we've had a couple of cold spells, a couple of cold nights in a row up down near freezing with some patchy frost inland. And we're showing about 65 to 67 degrees on our sea surface temperatures. So keep that in mind if you go out into the water today. And let's keep zooming in on our area. We have 16 knots at Caper's nearshore buoy. The Fripp nearshore buoy looks like it's showing 18 at Winyah Bay to our north. That's a good sign that the gradient has made it to our area and is going to hold if that number is holding to our north. So for this particular one, the gradient built from the south up instead of the north down because the high pressure started in the south and moved off to the northeast. So that's kind of how we set up for today. North Folly Beach already showing 15 knots. We have more of a north-northeast flow going on in the morning. That's kind of mixed in with a slight land breeze. It's kind of complicated, but as the day goes on and the land heats, that wind will start to bend out towards the northeast, and then the backdoor sea breezing oscillations start up and cause it to go east-northeast. Now the magic number for southeast-facing beaches is 57 to 58 degrees in lean. So that means in azimuths, when you talk about degrees of direction, our southeast-facing beaches, for the winds to become side-side to side-on, you need to be above that number. Too far east or east-southeast, and the winds start to fall off. So we need a nice medium between, I would say, 60 and 70, 75 or 80 degrees for the wind today, and we'll be solid. I think we're going to see 14 to 18 knots here with near 20, maybe 22 knots at times, especially south of the harbor down at Folly Beach. And then as we get into tomorrow, we'll hold 14 to 18, but on the lower end, I'm not going to call for near 20 knots. We'll probably hold around the 16 to 18 knot range. And then as we get into Friday, probably see those numbers drop just a little bit and drop even a little bit more on Saturday, come back up on Sunday. That's a little far out to call right now. So we'll stick for today and tomorrow being the stronger of the next 4 days. And that will do it for the Chucktown Wind Report. Thanks for watching.